Hey everybody, welcome to ProducerHax, a game dev podcast where we talk about games, the gaming industry. It's a Sunday evening. My name's Blair, producer at BioWare. With me as always is
Billy.
also producer. Yeah, also producer at BioWare.
Producer and producer, yeah.
Doing that thing. So today's topic, Billy, why don't you introduce it because it's your topic. It's your week.
Yeah, so we get this topic a lot, and it's come up a lot over the years to the point where I've built out like almost like a deck, but it's a giant word sheet of what does it take to get started as a game dev. So we've talked about how we got in over the years and how we got our career started, but a lot has changed over the past say 5 to 10 years that has made some things easier and some things different.
Yeah, I wouldn't say harder. Yeah, I would say different.
Yeah, it's not necessarily easier or harder in some cases, but it's just different. And so yeah, we'll go over a little bit of that. It's a big part of just, trying to get people over that hump of saying like, you said these words, but I don't know how to actually start. Yep. So yeah, we'll talk a bit about that. Then I'll always, take questions from chat today.
Questions from chat. Yeah, because we don't have anything on Twitter. We are very underprepared.
It was, I think, because of the short,
short week.
Short week.
It was also, we were trying to get more relaxed with the podcast.
Yes.
This might be the most relaxed one. Anyways.
Yeah.
But to start off, what were you playing this week? I guess, what were you playing from Thursday to Sunday? Anything new?
Yeah. Well, I guess even Wednesday evening. So, yeah, I started playing Overwatch a bit last night. Yep. I'm really impressed with it.
It's Blizzard.
Exactly. And I think that's I said on my stream last night, like, if you're a producer in the industry and you don't pick up Blizzard's titles, like, you're kind of, like, running a short career at that point.
Masterclass in quality.
They always are, right? Like, no matter, even when they have their issues and they try to sort things out, they always recover beautifully. And you look at their track record, and it's so on point that you have to pay respect to it, regardless of if you like the games or not. And honestly, I wasn't a big like TF2 player, obviously from Valve, not from Blizzard, and I kind of maybe mistakenly semi-dismissed Overwatch. I was like, it looks like TF2 meets League. Yep. And I was like, meh, whatever.
That's kind of more what Battleborn is, actually.
Battleborn is definitely more MOBA. But I think the characters and everything else, the heroes, like it's a hero shooter is probably the best way to think about it. But the heroes I find in Overwatch are a little bit better designed and more personality there. It feels like if Pixar got into game design, it's really, really well done.
They're just Blizzard. They're just so... I still have to pick it up because I pick up everything they do. They're just one of the most amazing game companies.
Yep.
Period.
Yeah, I agree.
like ever, all times, I think.
Yeah. You play Hearthstone on the iPad or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like they don't know how to fail.
They just nail everything they do at such a high degree of quality, and I think it's because they focus on like a few things, right, and do those really, really well. Where a lot of people try to do everything.
Yeah. How about you? Like, I was gonna say I played Overwatch, and then mostly it's my usuals like Destiny right now because Iron Banner is going on. But how about you? What did you play since I guess Wednesday
Far
night?
Harbor.
Yeah. You end up finishing or?
No, not done yet.
Okay.
So I think I'm pretty early in still. 2 hours. I don't know how long it is, but whatever. And then more Doom. Played a lot of Doom off stream just because I wanted to just enjoy it by myself.
Campaign
or?
Yep. Yeah.
Campaign. Cool. And then I'm trying the Nightmare Iron Man mode.
Oh yeah.
Which is Nightmare difficulty, but if you die, it reboots you all the way back to the beginning of the game.
For Doom.
Yeah, for Doom. Yeah.
Shit.
It's going awful. That's why I'm not streaming.
Yeah. Get some tips from size 16s maybe.
And then I just did music this morning. Did music on didn't do music on Wednesday. That's right.
Yeah, because we were here.
Yeah,
right?
because we were here. And then I don't know. Maybe I'll pick up Overwatch for Tuesday's stream.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You go on PC probably?
Yeah, I'll go PC.
Yeah.
It's easier for me to stream on PC.
Yeah.
Doesn't wreck my back as bad. Just from the setup I have at home. So
yeah, that makes sense.
I don't want to sit on when I play on like my PS4, I like to sit on a couch. Couch doesn't lend itself well to streaming, so
as you can see, I still my seating situation needs to be sorted out.
How your back is alive whatsoever.
It's barely.
No, I didn't think I would like Team Fortress. I never liked it. I was more of a Counter-Strike guy.
Yeah, okay.
I don't so
Overwatch. I'm Battlefield. Battlefield I used to be COD way back in the day. Now it's just Battlefield.
Yeah.
Like Battlefield 1's just like
Battlefield 1's blowing my mind for that trailer.
I gotta have it in my life.
So I want to try the Overwatch.
That's actually something we'll have to do because I think
because I don't play League anymore.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
So I need my new competitive
changed, man. You've changed.
Jones in game, so it might be that one. We'll see.
Your hair is like, I just realized
killing
you've
it
done
today.
you've done something to your hair, and I'm like, holy shit, what's going on here?
I shaved and I cut my hair.
Yeah.
I'm going to Vegas in like a week and a half.
There you go. There you go. I was gonna say, actually, one of the things we'll have to do in the next little bit is maybe like E3 predictions. Well, that's the thing that usually comes up around this time of year. It's the end of May. It's my mom's birthday today, so I had to give her a phone call. So
nice.
Happy birthday, Mom.
Happy birthday.
You're probably not watching.
No, definitely.
I'm looking at the wrong camera again. But yeah, I think E3 is coming up in about just under 2 weeks, I think, and then there's EA Play right before that. Yep. I'm really excited about EA Play.
And then Bethesda does their own.
I think they're doing their own gig thing. Yeah, a lot of the companies have separated.
Everybody does their own now.
They're all separating from E3 just because they're trying to get over that.
Ubi always does their own.
Yeah, trying to get out of like that blast radius of like all the news just kind of funnels into one spot. It's hard to get like your.
It's what's happening is everybody's breaking off, and I think in like 5 years everybody will come back.
They'll recycle.
Right? Like it's just
it happened a few years ago. Like if anyone remembers, slightly off topic, but the E3 show kind of like got to like just too crazy, and then everyone's like, "This is too crazy. It's just too expensive to run this show," and it just pulled it all the way. And they're like, "No, we're not doing this." And then people are like, "That was the worst. That was the worst E3 that's ever happened in the history of E3. Almost shut the show right down."
Jesus.
They even did like, maybe we move it back to Atlanta. Maybe we move it back to like Vegas to save this thing. It's on life support. And thankfully, they said, "Okay, like yes, it's okay to have a really big glitzy show once per year.
Yes,
Don't do it more than that.
Can't do more than one.
Yeah, but maybe let's get into the thick of
what's
things.
What's the topic? So, starting as a game dev is the title of the very large pile of notes you've created.
Yeah, and like I said, this is something that's I've been building notes on for forever. There's some game devs in the chat I'm seeing here, Graham and Jeff, and a few others.
Only game devs.
Barrett, a few others. So Chris is in there too. So yeah, thanks, folks. So feel free to correct me in chat, but it's basically for at least the past year or so, every time I went to a con or talked to someone or talked to students at some of the schools in Edmonton here, they said, "What does it mean?" And like, what does it mean to be a game dev? How do you start? And like, it's just like, I don't know. Like, it's too much.
That's
like,
it every time. That's the one question I get all the time.
Yeah.
I either get people coming up going, "Oh my God, love your stuff," or people coming up saying, "How do I get into games?" Mm-hmm. And it's usually actually in the same conversation.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So. And the funny thing is, I even touched on this in one of our first episodes of like, how did we get in? And I was like, I just didn't know.
Yeah,
I had no idea. There's like no handbook.
I had no idea either.
How to get into the industry. It was just like maybe no programming. Maybe I knew enough that it was like maybe you'd be an artist because things are starting to.
I didn't even think there was designers.
No, exactly. I was like,
I thought you had to be a programmer to be a designer.
Yeah, and there's definitely some overlap there, but a lot of it came down to just saying like, everyone would be like, "Well, how do you know you're a game dev?" Like, if you're designing games, if you're developing games on any scope or scale, you're technically a game dev.
Yep.
But I always said like, it doesn't mean you're professional. It's not like what you're doing for a living.
Yes.
That's there is definitely a distinction there. But if you build even like cardboard puzzles at home, like that's technically game development as long as you're actually aiming to make it playable, so to speak.
Yep.
That was always the distinction. I was just like, it's making it playable, whether for you, your friends, the broader audience, whatever it may be. But like, as long as your goal is to create a game that someone else or someone plays, that's game development. You're developing the mechanics of the game. And a lot of people are like, "Oh, that's all it takes." I'm like, "That's literally all it takes." Now, if you go,
that's all it takes.
Yeah, and if you to say like you're a game dev, right?
Yeah.
But I said that's the first hurdle. Like that's a lot of people like go like, "I don't know how to be a game dev." I'm like, that's it. Like just develop games. Like I was doodling on a piece of paper here last night. I was just like scribbling. I'm like, "Okay, there's like a design, right?" I do this all the time. It's just something that keeps my brain in a nice place. But I said, okay, like if you really want to get past that, the next thing really is to take something like a tool set and learn. Just start making something.
Yep.
And this comes up all the time. Yeah. So TheFiddzz is a game dev now. A lot of people here are.
There you go.
But I think it's you have to be able to, again, take something. Maybe even take nothing. It was funny. We were listening to Foo Fighters right before. This is something from nothing. It's that I literally put that song on for that reason, is to get my head in that mindset of like taking like almost nothing and making something out of it. And where I wanted to head with the discussion was more or less just talking about the tools. There's so many tools that are available now.
There's so much free stuff.
And they're all free. That's the craziest thing.
And not only are the tools out there, the guides to how to use the tools.
Yeah, they're everywhere. YouTube. Just go everywhere, and you're like, it's there. Like, holy shit!
I'm half decent at Adobe Premiere now, just because I go on YouTube when I'm like, I really want to do a zoom shot, and I'm like, YouTube, Adobe Premiere zoom shot, and it's like some guy talking for 5 minutes, it shows me how to do it, and now I know how to do that. Quick,
and you're like, done, right? Like, how many times have we done that to make a video for the team, like a team presentation or something, right?
Do it like every other week.
Everyone's a game dev. Yeah, exactly. Look under your chair. You're a game dev now. If I made you look under your chair and you got a reward, then I'm a game dev.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, that's the game.
That's the game. But it was meant to. The whole idea, like, yes, everyone's gonna make fun of that, but I think it's the idea of like, you have to get past that first hurdle. That's the one that hooks everybody. They're like, okay, you told me a lot of the same stuff. You told me all these free websites and all these things. I don't know what to do. And like, I literally built something about a few weeks ago. It was just something very, very simple. I was just like, I was actually going to bring it up on the screen tonight, but it doesn't run particularly well if I have everything else. I tested it yesterday. It doesn't run particularly well if I have all the other
everything
stuff
else
running, right?
going on.
So I got to sort that part out. But I think if I have like one camera going, or one camera, maybe no mic, some other way, there's ways I can get all of it running at a decent enough frame rate. But it's something I plan to do more of going forward, is just showing people that it literally is, boot up a tool set, get in there and start mucking around. It's like anything self-taught. You're going to learn crazy things that you wouldn't learn elsewhere.
Yep.
But I thought, okay, let's start with like what's out there, because I don't know. Have you ever dabbled in like any of the tool sets? Like, you obviously Frostbite, Frostbite, you've dabbled in quite a bit. So
I have Unity on my PC at home, and I've opened it once.
Nice.
And that was it.
There you go.
Like, it was just
like, shit.
That's so bad. And it was like, it's just I don't have time.
Yeah.
So.
No, exactly. And that's one of the struggles. I think that's where
I'm trying to learn Frostbite. So two engines.
Yeah, and when you cross, like, almost like cross streams like that, it's tough because
it doesn't translate.
I was learning Unreal for a long time, and then I was learning the version of Unreal that had like the bio layer on it for Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3, and then I was learning a bit of Unity and Game Maker on the side, and you got to really kind of like sit in one of them for a bit and soak it up and then move on. I got to tighten up the graphics on level 3. I agree. But I think what I was really impressed with is, like, when I started in the industry, I had just got out to Vancouver, and I convinced myself, okay, like, I'm going to do QA for a bit, and I do have plans to go into other areas.
Yep.
Just out of like creative like needs or wants, and also curiosity and challenge. And when I started okay, if I'm going to move on from EA, which was a thing I talked about in the first stream, but I had to get to a point where I was like, I'm going to have to move on because my contract was set to expire. And so I said, well, what tool set is everyone in the world using right now? And at the time is the Unreal 2004, which is Unreal 2.5. And so I just went and bought a copy of Unreal 2004 Tournament Edition, or sorry, Anthology Edition, I think is what it was called at the time. I found it for like $20 in a grocery store, London Drugs, in Vancouver. I brought it home and I booted up the engine, and I just started going hog wild. And it came with a disc that told you a few basics of like, here's how you're gonna start carving the world out. And it's like, this is such a weird way to think, because it's like everything's backwards. It's empty space. Yeah. But you carve into it instead of like adding to it. And I was like, what? Who would do this?
Strange.
Yeah. But yeah, that was, and so there was already a bit of an entry barrier there that you had to go buy the game to get the tool set. And then once you had the tool set, it was really kind of complicated, especially
YouTube
as a noob, right? YouTube was barely around at the time. It was like just starting up at around 2006.
Yeah, so now there's you can go get Unreal.
Yes, you go. What was previously known as I think it's UDK/Unreal 4 now. You just go to like Unreal.com,
just get it,
and just hit download.
Yep.
And the beautiful thing about it is you can learn it. We'll talk about one of the websites that I really liked going to. It's where almost all the Unreal videos have been built for forever. It's actually even one of the ones that was when we booted up Mass Effect for the first few times. When I was there, there's still obviously a lot of people working on Mass Effect 1 already at the point, but they had the same thing as a website called 3dbuzz.com, and it's run by a guy named Jason Busby, and he's awesome. He's been running that site for forever. He's got like 4 or 5 different techs. His dishes being done upstairs apparently. And yeah, it was basically you watch these videos and it's broken down into sections. Some of the videos were like 10 minutes long, some of them were 20 minutes long, some of them were like 45 seconds. Like, hey, now we're gonna go into this section.
Yeah.
And taught you everything from like what we refer to as like meshing a level, where you just like stick a whole bunch of meshes in their decorative pieces to make a room, and then put lights and everything else. And
yeah, that's the one funny thing about, you make a level in an engine.
Yeah.
And you're like, awesome, I made this little room, it's a house or whatever, and I walk in, everything's pitch black. It's like, oh, right, because I haven't added a single light source to my like level or whatever.
It totally changed everything about the way I thought about things.
It's so weird, yeah.
And it made me find a whole new level of appreciation for what designers and programmers and artists and everyone on the team was doing. Because I was like, at the time I was working on FIFA and actually Def Jam Fight for New York, and I was like, okay, like I need a creative outlet. Like I like both these games, but I need to go like play like Unreal or something. And so it was good, cross that I got to play the game and then also build levels for it. But that's what it was, is like the thing that you will ultimately find once you boot up a tool set is that you start to realize, oh yeah, the machine knows nothing until I tell it something. And the nice thing now is that the tools have not only become free, but there are more like noob friendly, so to speak, right? Like back in the day you had to like write everything in script. Someone like Graham probably knows this, right? Graham started writing a lot of script for what he was working on. But now it's all like these it's what like they call almost like a visual language of like these connected wires. You connect everything through schematics or blueprints as they call them in Unreal. And I was like, oh, this is exactly the way my brain works. Because back in like high school shop class, we'd do that. Like there was a class where you did electronics and you'd like take a piece of silicone and a Sharpie marker, just like the one here, and you just like doodle like your circuit lines, and then you take like a heat gun and you're like, and it would just like melt away. So it's the metal. I was like, what?
So explain that to somebody. So you want to have a merchant. Yeah. So you have interact. Link that to the merchant blueprint, and he has, off of him you can have his inventory, cost, his rule set, maybe he has a conversation, things like that, and then that links into, I guess, something else. Usually
there'll be like rules like, can you talk to him more than once? Can you buy each item more than once? So there'll be like different like loops and everything.
There's
to kind of say
like
ins and outs.
If this, do that, kind of.
Yeah, a lot of it's like if then loops. Graham's gonna punch me for saying all this, but it's really about building like logic into the game, and you're taking a lot of these things that are already there, and you're saying, okay, like Graham's even saying like script everything in text files, and that's what it was. Is like, if this is true, okay, do the following thing. If these other conditions are true, move forward. And it really is like you start to think about even like this room here, like this is barely a room, it's a bunch of curtains, but there's a light source there and there's a light source there, and that changes how everything interacts in this environment. If we turn one of these off, the chroma goes all bananas. If we turn the other, it does a totally different thing to the chroma, but they both make it bad. The knock-ons are like incredible. You learn all these, how everything's connected, and it's very cool because you see the wires and everything. So
so there's free tools now. Unity, Unreal 4, Game Maker.
Game Maker's got a limited version. That's actually so again, maybe if we go into like quick details of like what these are. So Unity mostly 3D, but there's a lot of 2D games built in there. So Unity's kind of like a catch-all, and it's actually really good for like mobile indie. And a lot of indie titles are doing it. Some of our good friends, working on titles. Praxia Entertainment, they are working on Unity, I believe. That's actually how I found a new channel on YouTube that I wanted to sub to, that he showed like how to do like really simple things with textures and everything in Unity. I was like, holy crap, that would save me so much time. Unreal, typically very 3D driven, but you can do just about anything in that. Like you can do camera offsets and everything. You can make like obviously Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3 were Unreal. Previous version of Unreal 3.
Tons of stuff ships on Unreal.
If you want like do 3D, Gears. There's like Gears of War is obviously 3D, but you can see if you want something that's more 2D but still 3D. Shadow Complex is a really good example of that. But like virtually anything. If you want to get into the industry, I don't usually like to pick one or the other, but I'd say like Unreal is going to give you probably the best in because there's so many studios using it right now.
I would learn Unreal.
Might be your best starting point.
I would also learn Unity.
yeah. But pick one and run with it for a bit. There's another one called Game Maker. I've been dabbling in this a lot too because I've always really enjoyed 2D sprite based games.
Yeah,
I find them just really. There's a certain timeless classic feel to them because you look at something like Super Mario World, it just feels like it hasn't aged. It still stands up. It still looks great. Still very colorful. Yeah, very pleasant. 3D graphics tend to age. Yeah, they make phenomenal games, right? But 3D games tend to age a little less elegantly just because fidelity and everything else.
Unless it's very
like Mario Maker, maybe.
It has a hyper art direction or something very stylized.
Yeah,
then it'll stand.
I'm actually really curious to see how something like the new TMNT game that just came out the other day. From the guys at Platinum Games, it's very cel shaded. It looks almost exactly like the show running in 3D. I was like, holy shit, that looks great. I'm curious to see how that'll stack up in about 10 years.
So then what's Google SketchUp?
Google SketchUp is something I want to call out because it's free. This is something that you hear a lot of designers talk about. I do this all the time. It's again here I got pieces of paper. I don't know if I probably shouldn't pull it out because it's got notes on it, but it's got no, that's not even work. It's just me doodling stuff. But it's a lot of designers will even talk about the napkin sketch phase. It's so Kieran was saying no SketchUp. SketchUp is it's a little rough around the edges, but I've seen a lot of folks use it as a means to build out a just very basic layout of a level. It's no different than if you want to use graph paper. I don't have any downstairs. I have some upstairs in my other room, but I often take a piece of graph paper and you just using the grid, you draw out the layout of your level. And you can, because a lot of times it's fairly thin, you can actually put one and put another one over top, and that's layer 2, and you can flip back and forth. Cool. It's really, really handy that way. And I start with a pen or pencil, and then you kind of sometimes work up to Sharpie, because then you can definitely see the layers through each other if you need to. But that's just a very quick way of doodling. Okay, so here's the rough layout. Once you get that into the actual tool set, you tend to change it a whole lot. But it's just that's getting that design onto paper for me is that key first step, right? In
a visual sense, and you can also start to get feedback when you put something into paper. What you have in your head, you might be explaining it, but it might not come across.
It's very hard.
We do napkin sketches a lot. For approval phases.
Whiteboards are a big thing, right? A lot of times now it's a whiteboard and then it's a cell phone, just click, and then you're okay, transcribe it. The reason I say Google SketchUp is if you're at home, you can use that to just quickly, it's already on the computer. You don't have to transpose it, so to speak. In Gamedev story, nice. That's a great app, a great game. I think anyone should check it out. RBG Maker was a great tool set as well. I didn't spend a lot of time with it, but there was a version of it that shipped on the original PlayStation. I played with it. I thought that was so cool. There's another one I put here is GIMP, just because it's free. It's basically a Photoshop alternative. It's not quite as robust, and it's for me it's been a little bit crashy on the Mac, but if you don't have the means to go get Photoshop, because back in the day Photoshop was a $600 program,
Photoshop
right?
Was
it was just and you started to realize why people and you started to realize very quickly why people were pirating the software. Don't get me wrong, I don't condone pirating, but you could see why that was happening. And unless you were a student where they gave you a student discount for you buy it for $100, you're well, why did they get it for $100? And because I want to work. Okay,
that's exactly what it is.
There's such a broken model at that time, but they've done something really cool, which is now I want to say the next part is so many of these tools are free now, which is amazing.
All those ones are free,
just absolutely free out of the gate. Now even the ones that were expensive, that are not free yet, are becoming ridiculously or achievable in terms of cheapness. It does add up over time, but I've had my subscription to Adobe Creative Cloud now for Photoshop specifically, and I'm actually going to probably add Premiere in there. I do it
for Premiere.
And I'm even debating maybe throwing in Illustrator just to do more vector art over the next little bit. But I think it's $9 a month right now. It might have been $9 US. I think
20, right?
I think it might be
it's $9 US.
$9 US. I think it's 20 Canadian.
It's 20 Canadian.
That's the thing is when I first got in, I was using a redirector for my my NHL service.
Yeah.
And so it thought it was $10, and it had to resub because my credit card had expired, and I had to put a new one on there. And it's like, no, you're clearly in Canada now. I was like, God, geez. So yes, you're right. It is $20 a month.
$20.
So that, that's not cheap. It's $240 a year. Look at that, guys. I did math on the fly. But
brutal.
But $240 a year. When you say even amortize that across like several years of like building a game, right?
And everything, right?
Yeah, the tools getting better constantly. It's doable, right?
Yeah,
like it's that's like the price of 4 Starbucks coffees right there. So
but you don't even need that. Like if you're making games, you don't really need those things unless because you can get a lot of free assets online and stuff. You don't need the Photoshop and stuff.
I see Disco Babalu, and he's saying exactly kind of the idea, which is you can take SketchUp and bring it forward into a 3D program, which is great, and that allows you to take it forward, and it just saves you a step of having to like again take this thing from like a analog medium of paper and then bring it into a digital space, which is it's time consuming. If you don't have to spend that time, don't, right? So I've been kind of dabbling a bit more in that lately. So
then once you have all your free tools or semi-free, and then what we talk about like 100 times is YouTube, Twitch.
Yeah, there's a lot of channels I can even recommend. I think what we'll do is in the show notes this time we will try to put
local library.
I put the local library because this is crazy. Like you used to hear that all the time, right? In a video, be like, go to your local library, and you're like, shut the fuck up.
I don't ever want to go anywhere near that.
We're fortunate, but the libraries in Edmonton are actually getting
they're
really
unbelievable.
Good. They're like, wow, these are like
state of the art.
I know. I've rented games in there. State of the art like complexes now, but they have materials for that. Like tons. I went and borrowed C# for Dummies. Because I had C++ for Dummies a long time ago, and I was like, I gotta learn like the very basics of getting into this, and exactly. I've seen people mention like Visual Basic and stuff like that. But I was like, I gotta like so many things now are built in either Python, C#, Ruby on Rails, things like that. Like so many of these new languages are spinning up, and you can go find these books anywhere. You can go buy them if you want to. If you know you're gonna make use of them, go nuts. I always like having a couple analog books around just because you can sit on the couch and just like read a few chapters and be away from your computer for a bit, which is good for me, especially on like a Sunday reading or something like that. Like I even there's like about 20 minutes on either side of my daughter's swim lesson on Saturday mornings where like she's just in the changing room with my wife, and like I'm like that's like literally I grab a book and I start reading. I'm like I'm gonna optimize the shit out of this, man. So
you are a producer.
Yeah, I gotta make it happen.
15 minutes on either side.
Yeah, we can get another feacher in there.
Yeah. Wow.
Hey.
Wow.
I'm gonna get shanked by Graham tomorrow.
By everybody.
So local library is one thing. YouTube.com. YouTube.com.
And
literally just
why
do
you say
search.
YouTube.com?
I don't know. Just because make it. I want people to like literally. You gotta understand. Just literally type in YouTube.com on Google. It'll take you straight there.
Ad thing I've ever heard.
I know it happens, but you got to get in there and do it. Like, I don't want to hear anyone say like I don't know how to find it. Brought to you by YouTube.com.
Yeah. It's not.
It's not. It's not. It's absolutely not. But it will be hosted there. At some point. And we have a channel there, right?
Side note: if you're listening to the podcast online, why don't you go to the ProducerHax YouTube channel?
I'm gonna like.
And subscribe if you haven't already.
Yeah, do it. That is not at all. That is
you should not.
I'm not going to post that. That is a terrible thing.
That would have been a disaster.
I think that might have shown up for a second.
No. Oh, it did. We'll reset that right after the stream.
We will get rid of that.
Oh, you were looking over there. I was like, is something happening? Oh,
bad thing happened. So anyway, we will post
people who Twitch might know what that was.
Yeah. Don't be idiots. Don't take that, please. But this is the actual thing that we were talking about. Why my mouse just keeps disappearing?
You are just awful at using computers.
There we go. This is the YouTube channel. Anyway, but you can go to
small sidebar.
You can go to YouTube.
Go to YouTube.com.
YouTube.com. Go there and literally just type in Gamedev tutorial.
Whatever you're thinking.
Whatever tool set you're using, like Unreal tutorial or Unreal lighting tutorial. Introduction to Gamedev tutorial.
Importing a character into Unreal.
Yeah, you type any one of these things, you will find a video. I guarantee it. I've been doing this for 5 years. I've not been stumped yet.
No. Never.
Some of them are better than others. And if you can't go there, like I said, one of the best sites I've ever checked out is 3dbuzz.com, and I learned about them because of that Unreal compilation that had like a disc that was just videos. Actually, if you ever bought the Unreal,
So hungry.
if you ever,
growling.
it's going crazy, man. If you ever bought Unreal 3, Unreal Tournament 3, the Black Edition, came in a collector's tin and had a disc that was literally.
Of course, you would know the collector one.
Yeah, it was, but I bought it for that very specific reason. Is it had a disc that was like something like full 10 gigs or over the 9.5 gigs of here is videos of how to, do all the things. Yep. And it took you from basically like not knowing how to use the tool set at all. Like they introduced, it was like, hey, welcome. We're going to walk you through from nothing, no knowledge whatsoever of you barely even knowing how to use a computer.
Terminology wise.
And they took you through all the steps. And at the end, you had a shippable Unreal Tournament deathmatch map.
Oh, that's awesome.
And that was like, holy fuck. It changed everything for me because I'd done a bit of that on Unreal 2004. And I put a few games out there, but, like I had like, I think it was called like warehouse _CT. Or underscore DM, whatever. Because you always had to put the underscore and then the match type.
Are you just hyping up your old Unreal Tournament?
You won't even be able to. No, I don't even think. I don't even think they're on servers anymore. But like, they were findable, and then they got some of them got okay ratings, but it was like that was one of those first things where I was like, oh god, like some people just tore the shit out of them. I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to get used to like taking credit.
So we talk about
feedback,
all
right?
The time.
So
if you can't take feedback, please don't make games.
You're gonna be weird.
I have a hard time.
One of the other ones, you wouldn't think about it necessarily, but if you go into twitch.tv and there is a directory called Game Development, and it's actually really fun to go in there. I used to go there. The way I actually discovered it was during my sabbatical last summer, towards the back end of last summer. I had to take a few weeks off, and around 4 o'clock local time here, Mountain Time, there was this guy who was, his name's Wizard Foo. I think it's Wizard_Foo. He's a dude out of like Oakland, California. He's building this game called Songbringer, and I was like, okay, I'll take a peek at this.
Yep.
And he's just like, he was one of the top ones in the game development directory. He only had about like 15 or so viewers, nothing like crazy.
Yep.
But that's anyone who's streaming knows that 15 viewers is 15 viewers. That's a lot. That means something, right?
It's a ton.
And the cool thing about that was that he was walking through. He was just like on his like little 20-inch Mac desktop at a standing desk, peering into like his 1-bedroom apartment, and he's just sitting there and he's just typing away and he's building the game right in front of you. And I was like, this is so cool. And it's actually a pretty cool game. It's like a Zelda hybrid. Like, it almost looks like Indiana Jones meets Zelda, which is really, really slick. I'm buying this like the moment it comes out. I've already talked about why I don't preload a lot of my purchases, like because he had a Kickstarter and everything. But I'm like, the moment it hits like full production, it's in like Steam Greenlight, I think, right now.
Okay.
As soon as it goes full, I'm buying the shit out of that game.
Yeah,
It's so cool. But
I don't like the.
yeah,
anyway,
that's a whole other thing. We may get into that at some point. But but Twitch.tv is
we can just
pretty good.
Diverge so easily. All the
a
time.
bouncy red ball goes by into traffic. We're both done. Like the bus factor is so high.
Like I'm just sitting here. Like,
shiny! And I was just like running.
My leg hasn't stopped shaking the whole time because I'm just like. That's just how I am. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah. So. But yeah, we wanted to kind of like get through
Scroll
some
down
of that,
a little
right?
bit.
Yeah,
I'm
we got some
trying
notes.
to keep up on your notes so I can throw stuff to you.
Yes. So that's the first bit.
So Billy, after the first bit, you got a tool set.
Mm-hmm.
You've started to dig into YouTube. You started to create something. What's gonna happen?
You're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna make a shit ton of mistakes.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's not a bad thing.
No, it's not. It's a great thing.
I used to be afraid, as a fairly competitive human being. I was like, "Fuck, I hate mistakes. It's just the worst. I hate them. I get like angry at them, and I can't stand it." But I also realized, like, wait, I always learn from them.
Yep.
So they're actually kind of good
It's
as
okay
long
to
as you
fail.
make use of them, right?
It's really okay to fail, and it's a thing that happens a lot in. Well, I don't know how other studios do stuff, but like you'll go for a level review, and the level might fail. Like the senior leads might be like, "Nope, doesn't have the whatever things we needed it to have." And it's not. It's like, okay, that's a little bit of a bum out, but it's almost like, no, okay, yeah, it failed, so it means we got a couple things to tune up. Okay, what did we learn? We need to do this, and that. Okay, yeah, and you go back and you kill it, right? Like if you'll never learn anything.
Yeah, and that's the thing is you need
fail.
You need two things to be able to get better at your craft. You need to be able to make mistakes. You need to be fearless enough to make mistakes and go, yeah, it's a mistake.
Yep.
Learn from it. Try not to repeat the same one every time. If you don't make mistakes, it usually means you're not pushing the envelope hard enough, right?
Yeah.
Like you're staying way too safe. You're copying something. You're probably not learning. You're just repeating. That's the dangerous part. The other thing is you need to be able to take creative and constructive criticism.
Yep.
And so we talked about that the last time, but it's just you take those two things, and
can't hammer on that enough.
I love what Graham just said in chat. Sometimes they lead to features.
Yeah.
I have seen this happen more times than I could even possibly tell you. Nice one, Taz.
It's a bouncing red
ball. It's just all over.
His name is Captain Twaz.
Yeah, Twaz nailed it. But the idea is that if you're not willing to make the mistake, that is like one of those crippling. It's almost like paralysis.
Yep.
And that was the thing that I hear the most is that people go like, first of all, I don't know how to start this whole thing of being a game dev. And two, I'm going to make mistakes. I'm like, good. And write them down. Like, oh yeah, yesterday I fucked this up. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. You have this little log here that says, okay, here, you did this thing. Well, how'd you get around it? Well, that fixed. Okay, cool. Well, the next time that comes up, you learn. Don't do that thing again, right? And the nice thing is, like I said, I cannot tell you how many times Graham's right, is that you make a mistake and then you discover, wait, it's like that happy little accident Bob Ross always talks about, right?
That is way more fun than the thing.
The thing we thought was going to be super, really, really well thought. We thought out, we drafted up on paper, we vetted it like 8 times, we got peer review, it looked great, got it on into the level, we're like,
this is the most unfun thing in the world.
Yeah, it feels like stale or like very rigid. It just doesn't feel
the big classic
fun.
one that I think everybody's heard about is the Grand Theft Auto. The first Grand Theft Auto.
Yes, yeah.
It was supposed to be no, it wasn't cops and robbers. It was something totally different.
Yeah, it's almost like what APB ended up becoming, but like in 2D, right?
Yeah. And they made a weird coding mistake that made the bad guys drive too fast, or cop cars have like no concern for collision or something.
They just give her.
Yeah. So they got and started playing. They're like, why is every cop car just driving like crazy and smashing and everything?
It's like Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah, like blowing up, and it's like, I don't know, but this is super fun. Okay, let's find out what happened there and like make it so it fits into rules. It's not just all the time.
Not just happenstance.
But they rejigged the whole game around it, right? Like that was and then of course now you have Grand Theft Auto 5. Like,
yeah, it's doing okay for itself, right?
Heard
it's doing okay.
I heard Rockstar's doing okay.
Yeah, doing all right. It's all right.
Just one of those little indie studios out there.
But
I might not have heard of them.
Yeah. they're up and coming, right? Up and coming.
Those poor guys.
Yeah. Hope they make it through this year.
Yeah.
Hope they make it through this year. But I think that's it. It's like, again, I don't know what to get in. Yep. We'll post links, and I'll really start pushing on this a lot in my channel. I really do want to start showing people, take this simple concept.
You're gonna spend a day a week.
I want to try to spend not right away. But in the next few weeks or so, I'll be starting to flip over. One of the days of my schedule will become a let's build a game feature.
Yeah, that'd be super.
Very very simple.
Yep.
Like we're not going to build like a mode or anything like that for the most part. But it'll be very very simple, and I think that's the important part is that a lot of folks will get in and go like, oh man, I love Fallout 4. I want to build something like Fallout 4, but I want to do it this way. You're not going to do that one person. You're not going to do that in any period of time. That will not age you significantly.
Literally just start with, can I put an asset into a level?
Yep.
Then you're like, can I move this asset left and right?
Yep.
With controls.
Yep.
Start there. That's
the one I will show you guys hopefully in the next few weeks is basically like a Space Invaders ripoff. And it's the simplest thing. It's got movement left and right.
Yep.
It can shoot. It's that simple.
Yeah,
but it's like the little things like when you release the left arrow or the right arrow, there's a little bit of slide, or a little bit of fine tuning that you can do that actually you go, oh wow, like if I just do this like 1, 2, it feels very like rough and mechanical, and like that's the stuff that we can talk about.
And people listening to the podcast later in the week or at a different time, just tweet at me and Billy if you forget some of the names of the things or don't know where to start, and we'll just point you at like Unity and some tutorials and
yeah, exactly.
hopefully Billy stream in the future.
Yeah, exactly.
Making a game.
Try to favorite or highlight each of those things, but yeah, it's something I've been very passionate about for the last little while. We talked about a lot of like, you know, community building and whatnot, and a big part of why this podcast started was, can we help to educate folks on like just the ins and outs of the industry? And one of the things I hear, like I said, so often is like, I really want to be a game developer, I don't know how.
Yeah.
So the reason
we'll probably touch on this topic
a lot, I think, yeah. And I think the reason I wanted to do this topic soon-ish was, one, because of the frequency that it comes up, but also it does tie into so many of the other things we'll talk about, which is, you know, good old Shia LaBeouf, they're saying, just do it, right? Like, just stop letting your dreams be dreams.
You are
just do it.
A Nike slogan.
Yes,
just
exactly. Just do it. And the reason for that is that you got to go, wow, that's...
Just take care of it.
Yeah. Should we do the thing?
Do the thing.
Can I...
Just time out.
There we go. I think they see that. It's amazing. I really got to... I got to do that over here, I think.
Yeah. Oh, right.
I think that's why.
That's actually a great idea. You could do it already.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Anyway, sorry, folks. We don't... That's not cool in any stream.
No.
But anyway, the whole thing is... we got to... Yeah. Peace out, folks. We got to... do better, I think, at educating folks, not in terms of like saying we're the be all end all of intelligence in this or knowledge in this field,
we
but
are
it's more,
absolutely
not even close, but it's more of just that idea of like nice.
Time him out.
Nice. Yeah, that twaz guy. Anyway, the whole reason we want to do this is
like, we're still young, we're still learning half this shit ourselves, but it's like we ended up in a fairly public personas, fairly public. Just being a producer, you have to interact with the public a lot and stuff like that. So people come to us and they ask these questions. So we have a little bit of info.
Yeah.
And hopefully this podcast helps people.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's
a big part of it. The other thing, so I was gonna say, like, beyond like going and making mistakes, which again, do it. Like, just do it.
Do it.
Just do it. Don't worry about it. Like, get away from that fear of it.
So let your dreams be dreams. Is that one of your notes?
I literally put that there because that was one of the things I added today when I was moving everything through. But I said, you know, so there's a few steps, right? It's get the tool, go down the tool set, find whichever one you think is going to be the best fit for what you're trying to do. First of all, maybe you just figure out, like, at a high level, what do you want to do? Again, don't set out to make Grand Theft Auto 6.
Please do not.
You're going to be disappointed within 30 seconds, and it's going to be a really rough landing.
Yeah, you're gonna create a sour taste in your mouth for games.
Start very, very simple. Every single developer starts simple, and I can't stress it enough. Like, when you go into a game dev course, if you go into a programming course, if you go into a lot of these art courses, they start with the simplest of simple to begin with, because they have to make sure that you remember those things and ground everything.
When I went back to music school, when I went to music school, I'd been having private lessons. Like, I'd been high school drummer, drumming for like 10 years at that point, and I decided to go to school, and I was like, I'm pretty good, and I had to do an audition tape. And like, they're like, you need to show this much proficiency in your, like, what are your chops at, all the rudiments and all that stuff. When I went to school, the first class was like, all right, so we're going to start with a basic beat. Like, it was just like, we're stripping away everything and starting you fresh to make sure that everybody has the solid foundation which to build on. And those game schools are kind of the same. So yeah, start very, very, as badly as you want to make the next, you want to make Doom 2, like the new Doom 2 or something in Unreal. Like, just start so much less than that. Like, so much less.
Yeah, and I think it's important to, like, ground everything in reality. It's not a failure to go make a 2-dimensional Space Invaders clone as your first thing.
Yeah,
if nothing else, it is one of the most satisfying things. Like I said, I'd built levels.
I have made this thing.
Yeah.
Right.
And like when you go to like code.org, which is like a great learning site, I go there and I try to do like the hour of code now every year.
Yeah.
And I really want to get this because I want to do this for my daughter when she gets a little bit older. I want to like start her up on and learning those things. Because, you know, engineering and coding is going to be a huge thing in the future. Like, I'm really happy to hear that more and more schools are committing to, like, this needs to be a thing in the future.
Way more than some of the other classes.
Yeah, like, there's so many classes that are like, great, you know, okay, fantastic. But you know what you really could use, like the ability to decipher and write logic, and
Yes.
you know, understand that, you know, especially this will make the internet a better place, hopefully, where everybody learns it and goes, oh, because you're playing Destiny today doesn't mean you fucking hate the Division all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Right? You know? That's a whole other show.
I hate all the people.
Yeah. But
Not these people.
yeah, you guys are all, you guys are all good people.
Great people.
But
Everybody else is terrible.
but what I was gonna say with this is that start small, start simple, very simple, and grow from there.
Yeah.
And then once you do that, the thing is, you're gonna find, if you're building something for yourself, and this is true of like if you go into a course, or if you go into you know, just doing stuff on a forum, whatever, you're going to do something yourself, and you're going to try and wear all the hats, right?
Yeah.
Like indie developers, you see this a lot where they're trying to do everything, right? And I like what Disco Babble was saying there, is like, try to give yourself a deadline.
Yeah.
At least first. Like, give yourself a deadline and say, like, I'm not going to give up on doing this. First of all, I'm not going to give up. Second of all, I'm going to, oh my God.
What is happening? I love it.
But second of all, yes, make a deadline for yourself. Yeah. And this you know, it's great because it's coming for a producer, but you know, give yourself a deadline to do something.
Yeah,
but the good thing is a deadline often motivates you to finish it, right? It does, it really does. And I think that's an important part to remember, is give yourself a deadline.
Yep.
Say, like, you know what, I'm gonna have this basic concept done by next Friday.
Yep.
And you go, okay, I've got a week to do it. I know I can kind of work backwards in there and say, like, okay, well, if I do this, I'm gonna have to do this much each day, whatever. You can course it out a bit. Do that. Then the second part is, you're going to do this enough times, you're going to repeat certain things.
Yeah.
You're going to eventually want to probably work in slightly larger groups. If you do eventually want to build something like Grand Theft Auto 6, you're going to need a big team for that. So maybe start with like Grand Theft Auto 2.1 or whatever. Right? Go back to the old 2D version, or look at something like what was it, Hotline Miami. Very similar. It's such a good game. I freaking love that game.
I should do the second one on my stream because I'm not done it yet.
It's so good.
Just
so good. But
the first one's unbelievable.
It's something fairly simple in basic premise and presentation for the most part. But take something like that as an idea. Like, one of the things I really like the idea of is doing a top-down shooter, like a twin-stick shooter.
Oh yeah,
old school, like
old
Robotron 60. Like I always say, Robotron 64 is Robotron. But there's, you know, something like that. And then build from there. And again, just take incremental baby steps, and you'll get better and better. As you get into more and more things, you're going to have to learn all the different pieces of what it takes to make a game.
And then you start to find
code and logic. You need
art,
scripting,
assets,
art, sound,
VO,
possibly VO. Yeah. You may need some element of writing, right? Like, you know, whether you want to make a 2D Mario clone like Super Meat Boy, or you want to make something a little more complicated like Shadow Complex that's 2D but in a 3D world, or you want to do Asteroids to Geometry Wars is a fantastic analogy. That is literally taking an age-old system or age-old game concept and not even reinventing it, just bringing it forward to a more modern state. And that game did bananas on the Xbox 360. But do something like that, and then you're gonna start to realize, okay, this is what I love about taking this path. Essentially, is everyone goes, well, I want to get into game dev, but I don't know what I want to do. I don't know if I want to be a programmer, designer, artist, writer, all of the above. If you want to be all of the above, you're probably staying in indie territory. If you want to get into, and this is some of the notes I had here, is like, as you get further in, pick a specialization, pick the thing that you're either really good at, you're good at, you're really passionate about, you could become really good at.
You just find the thing that calls out to you, right? Like, you start to do it all, or big chunks of it, and you're like, okay, no, I'm definitely leaning more towards design or art or whatever. Because every time we go to con, I ask people what they want to do in games. It's actually getting better. It's getting more defined now from people.
I think people are starting to
they're like, no, I want to be a writer. No, I want to be this.
I really want to do this
thing. For the longest time, it was just you.
I just want to make games.
I've got some awesome ideas, man.
I want to be the idea guy. I'm like, oh, that guy.
You want entry-level executive producer.
Cool. There's a few of those going around.
Director. Yeah, right.
Like, a few of those going around.
That's totally a job for everybody.
But I think that's really it. Is that you have to, you'll start to realize like what you want to do. I talked about this a lot in like how I got to where I am now. when I started out, I was like, okay, I'm gonna get into QA. I'd read all the stories of like how you start off there. QA doesn't even have to be an entry point, like in terms of like a leaping off point. You can literally make a career being in QA.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's pretty freaking awesome, to be honest. There's folks that have been in QA at Bioware for over 15 years, and like the studio wouldn't be able to ship the games they ship without that level of knowledge.
They're
right?
just as integral and respected and
yes,
needed.
Their peers,
as,
absolutely. Yep.
As game design, the design department, as the whatever art department.
Right. So, so I did that, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna be an artist because I really like doing art. I like drawing, and I was like, I'll be either a concept artist or I'll eventually learn the 3D program. And I was
rock
learning
stars of games.
I was learning. At the time, I was very much learning Maya. I was learning how to build. And I did a course even at EA. Like they had a program called EA University. And I was like, oh, and they showed us how to make the windows on the buildings in the old Godfather game.
Huh.
I was like, this is so cool. Everyone was like, this is such a boring piece of topic. I'm like, this is fucking amazing.
This
like,
is the thing I wanted.
I was like, to see, like everyone would think, building window frames and brick patterned walls would be so boring. And to me, I was like geeking out because I'm like, not only did I learn how to make it, but they showed us how to make it very efficiently and be able to duplicate it and make like a whole building side. So you take one asset and you spread it out over like a whole bunch of them. And I was like, oh man, it blew my mind, right? Yeah, it just blew my mind. I was like, oh god, like I finally am seeing how they built the assets that I ultimately would stack out to form a building in Unreal.
You start to understand the
right?
complexity,
It was like,
and
whoa, yeah, right. So
the cost and the tech, and why didn't you just do that? It's like, because we couldn't.
Exactly, right. And I
Make
think
a choice.
Yeah, and I think that's where ultimately this was heading. Is that like, again, if it goes back to that original question of like, how do I get in? What do I do? What do I want to be? Once you start playing with the tool set, you'll start to figure out where you want to be, essentially. Because again, like I started off wanting to be an artist, and then it was over time I was like, oh, I want to be a designer, and then I was like, no, actually I kind of want to be more on the producer side. And at the time, because of a lot of the creative or element of producer and designer were almost interchangeable terms at EA, and at Bioware we definitely split them apart, which is nice. It has different types of challenges as a result, right? So, but
every job is equally rewarding and equally challenging.
Yes, exactly, right.
No matter what the role.
But so and then it really comes down to you do all these things we've mentioned, and it sounds so simple, right? Go find a tool set, watch the videos, build a game. But as you practice more and more, and that's literally how I've built skills I've built, and what you've even built, having worked in Frostbite, building the challenges for DAI over the better part of a summer, right? And I had to do a bit of that too, and it was interesting because I learned a bit of it, and I was like, oh man, this is so different than Unreal, and I was like having to like change how I learned everything, or how I thought about everything. But the cool thing is, again, you'll start to figure out what core piece of that building experience you're really passionate about, and you'll see it in the product you're shipping, right? Like so to speak, because you'll be like, oh, I was gonna build a level, and then you start building a level or a room in Unreal, and you're like, wow, like I really took the art over the top, but there's no mechanics in here whatsoever. Or there's like visual storytelling, but there's no actual writing anywhere in this whole world, right? And so you go, okay, maybe art's like your thing, like maybe you have an affinity towards art and you just didn't necessarily know it. We've had that happen. Like we've had people that like they're artists, but their real affinity was being able to light a scene. And they're like the best at lighting art. They became the lighting person, right? And you're like, wow, like years ago that wouldn't have existed.
I think especially considering this is ProducerHax, like a producer podcast. If you want to be in production, or at least on the producer side, different companies have it differently broken up, but producer, DD, whatever. You should, I think, get in the tools. I think you should be in the tools.
You should know enough about what you're asking
so
for.
that when you have an ask, or when somebody comes to you with a problem, you understand. It's like, well, why does your scene take, your cinematic scene take 2 weeks to make? Shouldn't you just drop it in a character and pushing a button? It's like, no, here's the 17 steps, and it's like, wow, let's go get a programmer and find a way to make those 6 steps, right? Like. And if you would have no idea if you don't get in the tool. So as a producer, it's just I think you need to understand all the things. And actually,
producer or DD, understanding the pipelines. You may hear this term a lot actually throughout the next weeks and weeks and weeks of the podcast. Is pipelines. It's not an actual physical like pipe shooting oil out everywhere, but it's the idea that there's a series of events or activities that, my God, Siri. Every
There's a
time.
Siri of.
Yeah, it's weird because I always say the
doesn't
word.
respond to
I
me.
say the word seriously, and she jumps up like, "Yo, we going to the zoo?"
But then you go Siri.
If I
and
say,
she's
"Hey
like,
Siri," she's like, "No,
No,
we're not
don't.
doing
I
this.
ain't got time
No,
for you, bro."
who the hell are you?" But anyway, so if you, I don't even remember my train.
No, I
of thought.
lost it too.
Siri ruined everything
Serious,
again.
if you're serious about what?
I don't even remember where we're going. But
where we're going with it. We were going somewhere with it.
Siri ruins everything again.
Damn it, man. Well, I guess that's that.
It'll come back to me at some point. Maybe another stream.
End on that,
We'll
and that's the stream.
Yeah, that's the stream.
That's the end of the podcast. Thanks everybody for showing up.
But maybe we'll take a couple questions before we break here.
Yeah, if there are any questions.
Yeah, I know it's a bit of a long-winded topic, and it's again
meanders.
A lot of different stages, but I want to be able to get folks over that hump of being able to say that they can't. I hear it so often.
I can't.
It's so
something I was gonna say too. It's like if you want to get into games and you pick up one of these tools and you start digging in, and you might find out really quickly. It's like, wow, I don't want to do this. Like I love games, but I don't want to make games. Right? You might find that out, and that's okay too.
Yeah.
You know, not everybody is gonna be game. Maybe you just love playing them. Because too, when you come to the other side, you start to see the behind. A little bit of the magic dies.
Yep.
Right, and that's why.
Yeah. You're seeing how the sausage is made, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You're like, oh.
There's certain studios I wouldn't want to work at, right? To lose the magic.
Yeah, exactly, right. There's sometimes being a fan is the better part, right?
Yeah.
So, we do watch the stream. It's over here. Just we mute it so that we don't get feedback because the way you'd actually hear the two audio loops, and I've got to get a jack to fix the audio. Yeah. Oh my god.
Oh no, my arms aren't long because you've now like adjusted the cameras. They're just showing up.
Did some things. It's like they're in two places at once. Yeah, it's weird.
Any questions from anybody? I don't know. We kind of covered. I feel like we covered everything.
Totally.
There shouldn't be a
we're done.
Question here.
We're out of here.
Because I got some Game of Thrones to watch, man.
Yeah, exactly. I'm getting earbuds. Go on Twitter I have earbuds, but I don't have the jack for my my soundboard.
Don't tell us how to podcast.
No backseat podcasting, please.
Backseat podcasters. Punks.
I think what it really comes down to is, again, we will do where I don't know what you have stacked up. You already got a pretty full plate, right? You cover like the full gamut of gaming, now podcasting, cooking, music.
I'm not.
You're like a one-man band here.
When you said you were going to do a game development stream, I was like, "Ooh, I should do that too."
Like,
and
when?
I'm like, "No,
when would you do that?"
I don't have time. You'll be perfect at it. I'll just host you when you do it.
Yeah,
especially if you do it on Saturday, because I usually don't stream Saturdays. So
yeah, I gotta find. It's funny because just getting ready here. 7:40 a.m. This is fine. It's totally fine. I think we'll probably stream after this. I will.
Billy will be.
Blair's gonna go do some.
We're gonna watch Game of Thrones, man.
But yeah, I think going forward, I'm gonna find the right day. And we'll kick it off probably. I think sometime closer to July. But I do want to start actually booting up tool sets on stream and walking folks through it.
Yeah,
because I do want to
walking yourself through it too,
and again, it's been a little while since I've played a lot in some of these tool sets. Unity it's been quite a while actually. It's been about 2 years. One I didn't mention actually that I haven't done a lot of research on is Amazon recently built their own tool set as well.
I did not know.
That is picking up a lot of steam.
Probably go to YouTube and be like, Amazon, game engine. How do I do things?
Exactly, and the thing it's at YouTube.com.
At YouTube.com. You can find out.
Yeah, but a
lot of weird things.
I think the thing that's going to be really interesting about that one is that Twitch is owned by Amazon, so you got to imagine that there's going to be some things there maybe down the road. So, Twitch, Amazon's got their game studios and everything going on too. So, but having an engine that they've built now is pretty cool. So, I may dive into that one, take a look. There it is, Lumberyard. I was trying to remember the name of it. That's actually it was Disco Babaloo who pointed me towards it the one day, and I was like, oh fuck. I remember hearing that they were like dabbling in that space. One of the QA lead who used to work on the engine side for Epic way back is now working on the engine side.
The most random bits of information.
I know,
sometimes.
It's weird. Well, I think it just happened because I was constantly going to like Unreal.com and looking through the forums and trying to figure out okay, so if I want to build a top-down shooter, how do I do it, right? So again, that's probably where we're gonna head up, is just building little systems here and there of not full games, but because there are reasons to not build a full game
Oh yeah,
as an employee of a
employee.
studio, but it's more about AWS, Amazon Worldwide Services, Web Services, sorry, which is really an interesting idea, because then you could potentially host something in the cloud, right? Very cool stuff.
Yep. The futures now.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like, that's why I wanted to do this topic at some point. Just so happened we didn't have anything else, because it's ship it, right?
It's over. No, there's no questions.
Oh my God,
Twaz blown up.
Twaz has too much power. Too much power.
But yeah, I think that's.
I think that's pretty much it. We will get more into this. Like I said,
we need to get better at ending streams.
We can't. I don't know how. I really don't. I never want to. I'm just gonna drink this delicious mango Doritos.
I love those, Mexican pops.
Yeah, delicious. Lead us out. I'm just gonna drink this.
Okay, so for everybody in the chat, please hang around for just 2 seconds while we quickly turn the podcast part off, and we'll be back to talk to everybody. So yes, thanks for listening to Producer Hacks, a game dev podcast where we talk games, game industry, and all these other kind of things that I can't remember.
Yes, and as always, if you haven't already, please go to our YouTube channel, subscribe there. It's free. We're also on iTunes now, hosted via simplecast.fm, which is
Simplecast,
a great site to handle podcasts.
So we'll be back next Sunday.
Yep.
And you'll see this up online if you missed it.
Indeed.
Soon.
All right. Thanks very much, folks. Catch you soon. Woo. Maybe we'll end with "Don't Stop Believing."
Don't stop believing. I don't know what then.